Hey, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and we've got another really awesome wrestling figure review, except for today, well, we're not looking at any figures, we're looking at the first ever AEW Action Pack. And this is coming to us from Jazzwares, who's been making all the AEW figures so far. I've been really enjoying them. I think they're really awesome figures. I think they're a great price, great articulation, really pretty good accessories at this point. The one downside is obviously trying to find them is, well, that's quite a hunt to put it lightly. But I think they're awesome looking figures, and I'm so excited now that they're taking a page from what they used to do over at Jakks Pacific, and they are releasing accessory packs. And as I mentioned, this is the very first accessory pack from AEW, and this one is their barbed wire action pack. This one is so cool. And you guys can see here already, there's a lot of awesome accessories in here that are covered in barbed wire. Back when I was a kid, I actually made my own barbed wire ring. I was a fan of some of the garbage wrestling from Japan of that era, especially some of the FMW stuff. Of course, the IWA King of Deathmatch 95 tournament, even a little bit of Big Japan Pro Wrestling. And that kind of got me into making my own hardcore stuff, and basically I made a ring using, I think it was one of the older Jakks rings, and then I covered it with basically actual wire that I bought, and I custom made my own barbed wire. It was so awesome looking. I love that ring. I wish I still had it. But for the longest time, I've been waiting for someone to actually make a good barbed wire ring, or at least good accessories for it. And now I know Figures Toy Company has something. I know there's some alternatives in the world of mini wargaming that you can use, but they're all kind of iffy. They're not quite there. This time around, in theory, I've got some pieces here that I actually can repurpose to finally make a real, authentic scale version of a barbed wire deathmatch ring. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, so first things first, let's just talk about the packaging really quickly. And as you guys can see here, it's identical to all the AEW stuff from Jazzwares so far. It's got the classic black and gold look that they're going with, and it's pretty sweet. We have a very nice large display that lets you see everything that's inside here, which includes a bunch of really cool barbed wire wrapped accessories and a chain for some reason. We'll get to that. The back of the box has a great photo of Jon Moxley taking on Kenny Omega from AEW Full Gear, and you can see there's the barbed wire in the back there. I love this photo, great looking photo here. And it's pretty neat that they're actually showing the barbed wire being used. Obviously they're not showing it being really used and applied to someone, but it's in the photo. I think that's pretty great. And interestingly enough, on the bottom, it actually shows you the one few bit of instructions you're going to have for this, which is how to use that barbed wire with the rack that's included in here. So yeah, without further ado though, I think there's not really much else to say besides we need to go ahead and get this action pack out of the box and into the ring and put it to the test. All right, and here is our AEW Unrivaled Collection action pack, the barbed wire action pack. Let's go ahead and cut this guy open, take him out of the box, show you how that happens here. There's just some tape there on the top, and I think there's some more tape on this other side here too. We'll just slice through that. I'm hardcore, that's why I cut so terribly. And just so you guys can see again, this is that illustration I was talking about. That's the instructions for this barbed wire. It gets attached to the rack, so we'll be dealing with that in a few more minutes. So here we go, let's just go ahead and slide these bits out here. So this is the rack with some of the weapons, and then this is where the barbed wire is being held. That's what I'm most intrigued about, but we're going to get to that in a little bit. Let's actually start with some of these accessories here, some of these different weapons. And it's a cool rack. Let me get that out to the side though, but let's start with some of these weapons here. And really, we can't talk about weapons without, I think, showing them to you in someone else's hands. All right, now that is what I'm talking about. Check out all of these weapons. These are all four of the weapons that come with this set here. I've got Darby Allin over here with the steel chains. I've got Kenny Omega here with the barbed wire broomstick. We've got Chris Jericho with his barbed wire covered baseball bat. And last but not least, Jon Moxley with his barbed wire wrapped steel chair. And I think I kind of inevitably managed to line these guys up in order of how much I actually like these accessories. So I'm going to start with Darby Allin, who I think has pretty much the weakest of all the accessories, and that's the chain. So as you guys can tell here, this is not an actual metal chain. Obviously, they couldn't include that with this toy. It is just a piece of painted plastic, and Jakks used to do that also. I can't think of too many toys that actually have had a metal chain with them for safety reasons. I think the JYD figure, one of them, I believe, don't quote me, this actually did have a steel chain. But again, it was probably actually like aluminum or some very kind of soft, kid-friendly metal. You can't have a real steel chain. That would be just terrible and weigh down the toy too much. So for obvious safety reasons, they really don't include an actual chain in here. But I was definitely wondering what it was going to be, because when I saw the photos, like I had a feeling the way it was wrapped around, it was going to be just a piece of plastic. And, you know, I kind of don't really care about that. It's kind of neat, but meh. I'm hoping that if Jazzwares ever gets around to doing a 2-pack, let's say, of Brody Lee and Cody Rhodes, that we'll get like an actual dog chain, and that will be really cool, especially if it actually is a real chain. But as for this piece here, I mean, you can do some stuff with it, but it's very limited because it's already shaped. So really the most you can do is wrap this piece of plastic here around someone else's head or maybe a body part if you can fit it through there. that's about it. It's kind of limiting and kind of boring compared to what else is here. So next to Darby, we have, of course, Kenny Omega with that barbed wire broomstick, which is basically his signature hardcore weapon. And that one's pretty cool, too. It's a little weird, but it's pretty cool. And it is nice to have it because, as I mentioned, that is his signature hardcore weapon. I mean, we've seen him use that a few different times now. It's actually pretty neat looking, and it's kind of just a fun nod to include that because you need it, to be fair. The one downside about this is that it's very thin, this handle here. This handle is very thin, so really there's only one hand that can actually safely hold it. And that brings us over to Chris Jericho, who happens to have that hand. It's Jericho with his barbed wire baseball bat. So Jericho's able to hold this up really nicely, which is really great, because this hand here, this kind of like open fist that you can slide things into, that is the ideal hand for holding these types of things. Unfortunately, that hand is still pretty few and far between with the AEW figures. Kenny Omega's hand is a little bit wider, a little bit looser, so it's not really able to hold this broom as easy as it should, in my opinion. It doesn't really stay in there very well. You can even see it kind of just dangles out of there. So I'm lucky it's even staying put right now. But you really need a hand like Jericho has to actually effectively hold most weapons, in my opinion. And that broomstick, it even has a thinner handle than that baseball bat. So that's something for you to be aware of in terms of, let's say, posing, playability, and photography. You're going to want to make sure you got some hands that can actually hold these. And right now, these hands are rather, inflexible, I guess. That's why maybe they're making so many different hands. But yeah, I mean, I actually swapped out, I think, another hand for Kenny Omega. I don't remember whose hand I used, but I'm pretty sure that's not the one that came with him in this particular figure. So that's just something for you to be aware of. But the barbed wire baseball bat, that's really awesome looking. But to me, I think the real standout is Jon Moxley and his barbed wire wrapped chair. And by the way, that is basically the exact same chair we got with the Pac figure a few series ago, except that it's wrapped in barbed wire. And the nice thing about that, by the way, is the barbed wire, I think, actually does come off. You can see it there, it's kind of sliding off. So I think with a little bit of effort, you could probably take that barbed wire completely off of it and use it for another weapon. Now, the barbed wire baseball bat here, that is part of the sculpt. Same thing with the broomstick, it looks like. Yeah, broomstick is the same thing. It looks like it's a little bit flexible, actually, but that's definitely glued down to there. I think with this chair, I think you could actually get that entire piece off, and that's pretty handy, so you could have other weapons wrapped up in it. And I talked a little bit about the chairs previously when we did that Pac figure, in fact. The chairs are okay. They're nothing really spectacular. They're good, though. I mean, I like them. I think I currently like the Mattel chairs a little bit better. I think there's some improvements I need to make, like specifically with these bits over here, the parts that actually do open and close the chair. They're a little janky at times. I've had a few issues with them. Not as bad as a Super 7 chair. That was a piece of garbage. But, these chairs are fine. And it is pretty cool that we've now got one wrapped in barbed wire. But let's clear the ring out because now we got to get to, I think, our main event here. That's going to be the rack. And we're going to cover this in some barbed wire. All right, so we've got our rack standing in the ring right now. This is what it looks like without anything on it. It does cover up the ring pretty nicely there. It's a pretty decent size as well. In fact, let's actually try it out with the figures to see how they look on it before there's barbed wire. So yeah, you can see here, that's pretty much how that fits on there. It's perfectly in scale with Mattel figures as well. It's got a little bit of give to it, but not a lot, but definitely enough to make a nice dramatic shot. And now, really, the best part about this, of course, stand that up over here, is the fact that it comes with so much barbed wire. Look at all these spools of barbed wire. I kind of don't even want to take these apart because I just kind of want to use them as spools. I think that's just so awesome. So yeah, according to the instructions, all I got to do is unwrap them and then just wrap them around in 6 rows. So let's go ahead and let's see what happens when we do this. So the nice thing about this barbed wire is that they are all one solid piece. When I was talking earlier about the Figures Toy Company barbed wire, from what I was told from someone else who had that piece, because I've wanted to buy it for some time, but I never got around to it because I just didn't really hear great things about it. Ultimately, I heard that the barbed wire is not a solid piece. It's actually several pieces, and they essentially connect to each other, and that's how you get yourself your barbed wire ring ropes. So it's a little kind of fugly, and I think I heard that they also don't really stay together that well. Now, I heard a great alternative is actually some razor wire for some mini wargaming models. And in fact, there's like a World War II game out there that I found out about that has what I've heard is some of the best barbed wire for wrestling toys, just toys in general. Let's see, I'll wrap this through here. And it's actually also fairly cheap, but it is also kind of on the small size because after all, it's mini wargaming, so it's not meant to be quite as big. There we go. So I'm just kind of doing this willy-nilly, just trying out some different shapes, different sizes of things here. And I don't think I'm going to put barbed wire across the whole thing just for this part of the video. I just want to give you guys a little quick look at how this thing is. It moves really nicely. Now, the big question I know a lot of you want to know about is whether or not it's actually sharp. It does have a little bit of sharpness to it, but it's not really like, a Diamond Select figure where you'll lose an eye. It's actually fairly safe to touch. I mean, I don't feel any pain, obviously, because it is just a toy at the end of the day. But it's convincing enough, and that is the nice thing about this barbed wire, is that it's pretty firm. It's not like super flexible, super bendy. It's fairly firm so that it will hold up to a figure's weight. and most importantly, it'll maintain the shape here, because that's what I really want with this barbed wire, is I want it to maintain this curly, kind of crazy shape here. So here we go, we just hook it, we'll pull it down. I think I'll just put 4 on for now, because I want to use the other piece for something else in a moment. So there you go, that's pretty much the gist of things here for that. That's how it's going to look, and there's 2 more pieces here. I'm going to get some photos, obviously, with more of these, but I want to hold on to the spools for something else in a minute. So let's do this way here. We'll do like ECW style. Let's just go ahead and toss a figure onto it. Yes, that is satisfying. That is, oh yeah, this is what I've been definitely waiting for. That's awesome. That's perfect. I know this looks like nothing to you guys. It's just kind of like a figure falling on the back of it, but no, that's perfect. This is exactly what I've been waiting for. This has been years, literally decades almost, it feels like. I'm pretty sure it has been decades, me waiting for something like this. This is exactly what I wanted, but really what I want to know more so is how much this barbed wire stretches and what else can I use it for? And that gets into my deathmatch territory, because back in the day when I made my rings, back in the day when I made that deathmatch ring I was talking about, it was actual wire that you would use for, let's say, sculpting armature. That's what I used, and I had it strung from turnbuckle to turnbuckle. Either I had it straight like this, or I had some sides that were like a net, like you'd see in the barbed wire net death matches. So this barbed wire here, I want to see if it actually is long enough to reach end to end. It is. Oh man, this is legit. So that actually is going end to end. This is the authentic scale ring from Wicked Cool Toys. Jazzwares has their AEW rings. We're going to be getting that one with Aubrey Edwards later in the year. But yeah, these pieces actually connect. They go around the whole thing here. And so on that note, in fact, I'm going to actually try and let's do some wrapping around it and just see how this works. This is exactly what I wanted, you guys. This is what I've always been hoping for, and I've been waiting for so many years for somebody to do this. Boom, this is it. That's exactly what I'm talking about, you guys. So I don't know if this would actually necessarily completely be able to replace the ropes. I think you can do that with a little bit of work. I don't know how long it'll stay though, because even just getting it to stay in this position was a little bit of work. But you can see here with the ropes actually on it, it does pretty much attach. And there you guys can see it. Man, it does stretch turnbuckle post to turnbuckle post. So I think that if I wanted to have a no rope barbed wire death match with the ropes as barbed wire, I think I can do it finally. I think I can finally pull that off. Let's just try that out. Yes. This is so, man, this is like my childhood fantasy right here. I always wanted to have a proper barbed wire death match ring, and at last it looks like I can actually have it. And on that note too, I think if you guys have, like, let's say one of the, if you guys have one of the other rings, let's say like one of the smaller rings, I think that would actually probably be a little bit better for this, just so you can have the ropes maybe a little bit less taut, because yeah, I am unfurling it entirely almost, so I don't want it to straighten out either. I want it to kind of still have that wire shape to it. But I mean, for the most part, this is working out. This is exactly what I wanted here. And I definitely can see myself getting a second ring now just to make a proper barbed wire death match. Let's have Moxley at the paradigm shift in that barbed wire chair. Oh man. Little Matthew would be so happy right now if he saw what was going on here. This is the dream come true for real, folks. This is it. Let's bring back this piece here. So this is exactly what I'm waiting for, man. Just the barbed wire accessories. I don't have to make my own anymore. You know, previously, the only barbed wire things we ever had were from Jax. And I think Mattel has done like a barbed wire baseball bat, but we basically had a barbed wire baseball bat, and we had a barbed wire board, which came with the Jax toys as well. You got that with some ECW toys many, many years ago. And you can actually still buy some of those boards from like Figures Toy Collectibles or whatever they are. But they're, you know, the third-party version of it. Yes, perfection. But now Jazzwares is coming along and they're giving us legitimate barbed wire accessories. This is just, yeah, this is mind-blowing. This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Now, the fact that you do have 6, that means you have enough for 2 sides of the ring if you're going to wrap your ropes around it. So you're going to need to get 2 packs of these, minimum. And I actually have 2 packs. So I'm going to hold on to one of those for now. But really, I suggest if you do end up buying this, you're going to want to buy minimum 2, possibly 3 to 4, just to get more of these racks as well. You know, I regret not buying more, but I kind of wanted to see how it all worked out. And yeah, I will be placing another order for more barbed wire, because this is just exactly what I want. And on that note too, I really genuinely hope that Jazzwares is going to put out a barbed wire ring at some point, because they've got all the makings for it here. They need to just do it. Give us the barbed wire deathmatch that we got between Omega and Moxley from not that long ago. Needs to happen, because that would just make this complete, absolute perfection. I cannot get over this. Everything I've ever wanted. I'm just repeating myself at this point in this video because I'm just that excited to talk about this and finally get what I've been looking for years. So yeah, you guys, the AEW action pack is perfect. And I really hope they make more action packs, because there's a lot more things they could do. The barbed wire is a great starting point. And I love the fact that they're just straight up doing accessory packs. You know, we haven't gotten that really from Mattel. The most we got from them has been some championship belt packs, and there's only been 2 of those. They've been so few and far between that they're not really that notable, unfortunately. So yeah, I definitely want more packs like this from Jazzwares, because that really makes them feel a lot different and make them stand out very much from Mattel, what Mattel's doing. Of course, the chain that Darby Allin comes with, that absolutely sucks, but the rest of it is awesome and totally worth it. So yeah, again, you guys, if you buy this, get more than 1, minimum 2. I'd say at least 4 if you want to really do what I'm doing here and have some crazy awesome barbed wire death matches. And especially with the upcoming Cactus Jack figure that's coming out from Ringside, you're going to really want some barbed wire to go with your Terry Funk from that same time period too. Oh yeah, no, this is exactly what I'm waiting for. Man, I'm in awe of this. This is amazing. This is one of the best things Jazzwares has done. And on that note too, I can't wait to get the next AEW proper ring, because I'm still using my authentic scale WWE ring here. I cannot wait to get that ring with Aubrey Edwards, get her in here, have a referee them some of this barbed wire craziness. Man, you guys, this is great. So yeah, right now, only place to get that pack is from Ringside Collectibles. As of this video being made, it is currently on back order, but you can still get it. Their current estimated date for arrival is in September. It's now $22 plus shipping and handling. Get it. That's a good price. I'm not going to argue about that price. Don't pay more than that for it. But I get the feeling this is going to be a very hot item, because no one has done barbed wire as good as this ever in a pro wrestling toy. And it gives you so much flexibility to do whatever you want and tell your own stories with it. The barbed wire weapons, those are great too, but for me, really, the main thing is all this great barbed wire. So it's an excellent value. It's perfect for photography, for playing, for whatever you want to do with it. This is the pack to get, and I want more like it. So Jazzwares, give us more accessory packs. This is great. This is perfection. So that's our look at the AEW barbed wire action pack. I'm going to keep raving about it because I'm in love with this. I'm going to make some more figure photos, in fact, while I'm here. So yeah, you guys, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. We will see you guys next time with some more wrestling figure reviews and everything else we do here on the channel. Goodbye and good night.